know anything about either of these centers until Occupy, and I bet that a lot of other people are in the same position. So I think that having a good, strong list of ways that these places have helped communities, specifically maybe that people don't know about, that they'd be interested in. Because, like, if you told me that was going to go, I'd probably, like, sign a letter before this. I would have been like, oh, whatever they do there, oh, you don't want to close, okay. But it would be nice to have to, like, say, this is what they've been doing.
They also, like, a lot of the Indian reservations have used that space. So, contacting, I mean, there's a lot of people there that, you know, they've used them over the years, that outreach to them, letting them know, like, what's happening. You know, I'm sure that they'll help us out.
I would not do anything as Occupy unless we clear it with the two centers first. So for now, you know, the things we do as individuals. If they want us to do something, you know, but we need to ask them.
Gotta have it.
You can do it as Occupy and just not rock Occupy too. Like we can all go there together.
Yeah.
And just not tell people who we are.
Yeah.
And we can use all our means that we have, our ways of outreach, of talking to people on the internet, all our connections and all that stuff. But we can individually show up. I think that Carlos, you kind of had talked to her about that a little bit, yeah? Yeah.
And try to reiterate occupying into our technically while we discuss. Like, you know, the other day I was just sitting there occupying that one seat. Yeah, I climbed up and I realized there was a squirrel occupying that spot I wanted to sit in.
One more thing, if we want to keep our face and names off of this, maybe not put anything on our website or Facebook page concerning this particular thing. I think they do have a website. Save the World Beach Center or Save World Beach Center. And use that site and not use ours, because you know damn well the cops and the city are reading our stuff, so they'll know right away if we start plastering this all over our site. So if we not talk about this on our website.
I think that they're
or emails.
Regardless that we're involved. That would go without saying. It's just how overt we are with our involvement. It's gonna be hard to keep people from posting stuff on the Facebook page, and it may be intelligent to do that, but like I really feel that they're gonna know regardless that occupiers are gonna be immediately getting involved with a potential closure of the centers. So it's just another thing.
They already know what most of us look like.
It's not important that we don't, as a community, like let it be known that we're behind this. It's important that the politicians not have somebody to point at to say that's the reason. And we are like the ugly stepchildren of San Diego, and everything that's wrong, if we were there like, yeah, don't do that, they're like, see, look at these people. This is why we have to do this. I mean, that's just who we are. We have to own up to it. They don't like us. And they have plastered our name with terrible things, and they're going to use that. It's good collateral for them. So that's why they don't want the Occupy name there, because that name, it has a lot of connotations in a lot of people's imagination. So yeah, that's...
like a subcommittee or something like that, to work with them, talk with them, ask them what they would like us to support, tell them what our suggestions are, and what we are willing to do, and see what they say and what, you know, if they would like, because they may have something else that they would like. And also, do we have an Earth Day? Do we have an Earth Day booth or something? Do we have one coming up? Okay, we pay for it then?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if Occupy San Diego does. I know the women occupy.
Yeah, we did. And Tanitas did too.
Oh, you guys did too? Okay, good.
So, right around May 1st, there's a general strike, and possibly there's a building being being evicted. So, maybe plan on being arrested right around that time. Just saying. It's like a month plus from here. I can rearrange my schedule around that a little bit. I don't know about y'all, but if that building just happens to need to be occupied, I might just happen to have a week off. Don't feel me out.
So you get over there and speak with the two different. Any other? Anybody else want to help me hand out flyers that say the end of the World Beat Center, Cultura de la Raza is coming last month to save it? No? Okay. I didn't put my mouth when I said it. I'm sorry.
I'd be down. I'm down. Definitely always down to hand out flyers.
No, I'm gonna make a just flyer. It's a just flyer. Last month to save it. Kind of like, hold on, that's no longer gonna be there. Like, to the people that know that it's there, like, yeah, I'm never gonna see that building again. Yeah, I need to be there.
We don't want to rush. I mean, what we're saying, they have not threatened to throw them out yet.
Yeah, they have.
Overtly.
Oh. Covertly they have.
Month to month. Okay, so rather than this is the last month, we don't know that and we don't want that to happen. Say we want the city to give them their lease for 100 years for $1. This is what we want. But we don't want to say this is the last month because they haven't been overtly threatening that yet. I'm not sure.
So I wonder what happens. So do they have a time limit that they have to pay the $12,000 back, and then what happens when
They have 30 days.
So 30 days if they don't pay the $12,000,
Yeah.
the new fines that nobody else ever has but them, then they can take away probably everything.
Wait, so it's money?
It's one of many things that they want. They want their lease, they want their money, they want their buildings, they want them out.
We can raise money.
It's $7,000 because they've been holding events outside in the grass area since 2010, and then $5,000 of parking tickets for using the free 24-hour facilities, and that no other group or other buildings in Salvo Park has to pay.
Is that like civil disobedience? They're just getting tickets and not paying them? Is that what that is?
Well, that's a way that they're being getting harassed by parking
Unequal
and
application
transportations, yeah.
of the rules. Unequal application.
So they're ticketing only the people that are going to the World Beat Center, but not other institutions around the area that are using the lot when their events are happening.
Yeah, I think we should talk to them first and see what they want. And we support what they want. Not what we want for them, but what they want from us.
Well, they want letters.
I know, but they also want some kind of sustainability as far as the month to month to maybe to change and so forth. Let's find out the specifics about those terms.
Okay, it says in the letter right here that they were handing out. I urge you to facilitate approval of the 25-year lease that was promised by the City of San Diego Park and Recreation. Also, please approve the right of entry to the Children's Garden, which was promised by Park and Recreation within the lease.
Good. That way, when we do write any flyers or anything, we support what they want. We don't put some kind of crazy thing on there and then we're not in solidarity with what they're asking for.
Maybe they should read that out loud.
Yeah.
Me?
That way we're more informed.
Well, this is just a simple letter, and it's not going to apply to everyone, obviously. So the letter reads, Dear Council Member, I'm a dedicated resident of Sherman Heights in San Diego. I have been an activist in the city for the past 4 years, working for justice and awareness in my community, specifically with food, the environment, and culture. As a young student new to San Diego, I needed a space that provides support and love when I felt insecure or lost. The World Beat Center has not only provided safe haven to guide my learning, but it has also given me an opportunity to connect with people of all cultures, ages, and colors. Now, as a graduate of San Diego State, I utilize my skills and awareness that I learned at the World Beat Center to share with others and give back to such a unique, multifaceted cultural center. The World Beat Center works so hard to make the community of San Diego strong and healthy for individuals like me and for the city as a whole. I have experienced acceptance, support, and strength while at the World Beat Center. I couldn't imagine life in San Diego without the World Beat Center, and I hope that I will never have to. The World Beat Center is experiencing discrimination by the city of San Diego, but work hard. If the civil rights of the World Beat Center are being violated, so are mine. Institutional racism is a crime that impacts all people, especially those of color and minorities. The World Beat Center serves underrepresented people, including the African and African American communities. Try to hinder the support of these people impacts the stability of families, children, and the disabled. We need to stand up and say enough to this hate. I am urging you to speak out against the discrimination and harassment of the World Beat Center. As your constituents, I urge you to facilitate approval of the 25 years lease that was promised by the City of San Diego Park and Recreation. Also, please approve the right of entry to the Children's Garden, which was promised by the Park and Recreation within the lease. We all must stand up for my rights and the rights of all people by changing the actions of Walwell Park from power-driven to people-driven. The most important action you can take in your governmental career is to fight for justice and solidarity for your constituents. We will be watching your words and actions very carefully. I hope you have the integrity and accountability to respond and represent me in your position of power. Sending peace and love from my heart and from the community. Bless. So yeah, that's just a simple letter, and obviously not all of us are going to fit this, but that's why, we are going to be able to change it according to who we are.
Yeah, it needs to be more generalized.
Yeah, more generalized.
The points being 25-year lease and access to the children's garden.
Yeah, it's actually bolded. That's what they want.
And I'm sorry.
Andy?
Sorry.
I would like to suggest that at this point we write letters, as the World Beat Center is asking us to do. And I think instead of reinventing the wheel, so to speak, and creating an occupied flyer, that we wait for the World Beat Center and the Centro to create a flyer themselves with the points that they feel are the most important. And then we take your flyers and flyers with the same information.
Let's talk to them coming from there too. So essentially we're on standby then. The only thing we can do is write letters.
Then we'll talk to them. Tell them we're there for them. Give us a flyer, do whatever we need to do. We'll do it as a group, but not as an occupied group. So we are concerned, sir, because we understand as occupied. Stand up.
I suggest that we get them a good contact within this group that they can call for ease of access to us, because it can be a pain in the ass to make our meetings. So somebody here who consistently can make it out to 10 seconds before PA, maybe go and talk to Makeda and say, hey, whenever you need us, give me a call and give me the information that needs to be sent in. She doesn't have to do that.
Ice cream.
I think that would be a really great next step. Yeah, oh yeah, Pat. Or Carlos.
I would like to make sure you. I was gonna say like in everything, but I guess
Yeah, so basically just tell them that we're ready to mobilize and they've got us in the bigger.
Right. You hold this thing while you put it.
Okay, here's what the proposal would say if there was one, based on everything that was said here, is that we're not going to create our own actions, our own flyers, our own anything. We are a willing base to help with their actions and their plans. We don't know what they want. We're not going to do anything that might hinder or change their plans. We're going to let them plan it. We're going to have specific contact people that they can get any information they need to get to us, and we're going to play it by ear from there. That's, I think.
At the same time, we can write individually to the city council or attend city council meetings as citizens.
While still participating in the plan that they had set out right at the beginning here with the letter writing campaign, attending those meetings.
We created a liaison committee.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, one more point. It's not just a city council meeting. You can make an appointment to go see them, either at their neighborhood office or in their council office. And I think Tony Young actually has sometimes on Fridays that he's there, and so we can go see them in person.
And also tell all your friends and everything. I know some people go there and say, hey, I do.
Okay, cool. So, yeah. Does anyone have a problem with that plan of action? That's plan of action.
There you go.
I actually have a question. Does anyone have a scanner? I was thinking, just in order to respect the World Beat Center, we can just, scan this and put it online.
I have a scanner.
Spread it.
You got one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never used it, but I have
What
one.
if we write one that's like Trace?
I'm just saying because this is exactly what they gave us. That's the only reason.
Uses like a template.
Yeah, that's it. This is the template that the World Beat Center was handing out and gave us.
But it's a template, but basically it's just an ideal letter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Scan it. You can scan it too, though. I mean, it's really those 2 points, the 25-year lease and access to Children's Gardens that they're directly asking. As long as that's included in the letter, maybe highlight that.
I would hate for somebody to pick that up and just put their name at the bottom.
Yeah.
And have it say like some totally non-representative name. Yeah, oh really?
Any other topic? Is that it? I think so. There's a form to meet with them. It's going to need to bring into the next meeting.
Just for the sake of the notes, did we reach consensus on a proposal there?
That was modified piece. Nobody had any decision.
I'd like to suggest one thing is in our individual letters, the more individual the letter is, the more potent it is. And to put the 2 points in that the World Beat Center and the Centro deserve to have a 25-year lease, just as the Boy Scouts have. And yeah, but what I'm saying is the same type of and the point about the children's garden, and then maybe what the World Beat Center means to me, what the Centro means to me, how personally my life has been enriched by the World Beat Center.
Any other ideas or information or clarity on the topic? Any hard blocks? Okay. See you next meeting.
Is that the only thing on the agenda?
No.
Okay.
I want to discuss, but we don't have to do it today, we can save it for another night. I want to discuss this whole conversation that I see going on, and particularly online, about the idea that we should be primarily targeting Republican people running for office. And I see a lot of the lesser of the two evils arguments being thrown in there all the time. And since we are politically autonomous, I think that we have absolutely no business. I want to talk about this, but I personally think as an autonomous organization, we have no business organizing actions against individual politicians unless we're targeting all the politicians in that group equally, because they all have dirt on their hands. But I'm seeing this constantly going on, and it's particularly favoring the Democratic candidates. And there's a lot of discussion about organizing things online. I think it's a conversation we should have. But we can do it another day if we want.
God. Sorry. Now that was fucking funny. Can we do that again?
Talk about one of them.
Can we do like 5-minute breakout groups on each one? Just do them real quick and then come back? Can we do?
No, I didn't. No. Hey, stay right there. We're gonna have a group right here. Okay? We gotta get rid of this thing though.
Alright, so we discussed both fundraising and this whole
We gotta get rid of this thing.
So everybody's aware of what I'm talking about though, at least, right? Has everybody seen that online where we're getting a lot of this commentary about,
Can I hold this for a little bit?
you know, we should go against Carl DeMaio,
There you go.
we should go against this person.
You want to hold it for a little
but
bit.
you don't hear the same thing being said about their Democratic opponents, and they all line up. They may be technically autonomous, but they all line up to one party or the other. It's not, and we know which money is funding their election, so it's bullshit to say that, in my opinion. So that's what something I'm seeing a lot of push for that happening online, and I'm really not liking it. So that's all. All right, let's go to groups.
Break out 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes on one.
Yeah.
10 minutes on the other.
Yeah.
The Donkey Show. Fundraising,
And who was it
protesting
related
against
to?
politicians.
Yes.
And what else was it?
Fundraising.
Ideas for fundraising and
Can we hold this in your group?
protesting candidates.
All you do is hold it like that. That's it. You don't have to look at it. You don't want
I
to.
was noticing that somebody was putting a lot of
I'm just gonna take a 10 minute break.
online.
Yep.
And I had said, and this is exactly my working process. I said, wait a minute, are we not allowed? Did we not all consent to not be talking about these things on the page? Let me look at the guidelines. And I went on the guidelines, and nowhere in our guidelines on the page does it say that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, but who actually last tweaked those guidelines?
They should be. Well, that's what I'm saying. They should be.
That would be the administrator, and that would be Ray.
Them all the time. Like I see Ray always fixing them. So I mean, I don't know if it was never included in there for a reason. I mean, does anybody remember there being a clause in the actual write-up? It says everything else that you can and cannot do. But it does not physically say.
It used to, though.
Are we sure?
It used to say, back when we started in October, it used to say that.
Okay, it doesn't now.
Well, now, and this is maybe another issue we need to have a discussion, because right now the two people who are our admins and our only admins on their Facebook site are both pro-Democrat and want to involve this. And so that is a bias that we don't have. At one point we had voted in our admins, and now we have unelected admins in there.
Yeah, and from the understanding I understand, really there's like one admin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
to me it's a problem, because that page is.
Because there's never two of them there at the same time. One is always one place and one is always the other. So yeah, it's like if anything happens, there's not enough admins, I guess. But then there's too many people that piss everybody off on the page. So if there was too many admins, then all of a sudden there'd be nobody left because everybody would be banning everybody. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing, but that was what happened to me when I was faced with that same sensation.
I remember that
I
remember that conversation. I know that a lot of the other groups have said that, this is not the appropriate place for it. I find that when people do it, I lose respect for them, because I know they know it's not the appropriate place, and I don't like being used for people to, think that I'm a ripe audience they can push a candidate on. I have my own decisions about what I'm going to do when it comes to voting. I'm not going to push it down anybody's throat. I can understand being against something, but I'm not okay with the I don't want Occupy protesting Republican candidates and not equally protesting the Republican or the Democratic candidates who have as many issues with us as the Republicans do. To me, that's just fucked up. It's hypocritical. It's co-opting us. It's co-opting.
Okay, so
we
we're
have
saying
Democratic
we don't want
supporters
people,
online who are pushing for Occupy to go out and demonstrate against particular Republican-aligned candidates.
Okay, but my
or
question
asking
is
online for people if we should be doing it.
Right. But it doesn't. Okay, but there's a line between asking people to do actions and then just talking about it, right? I mean, there's a distinction, right?
They're moving quickly to get beyond talking about it and actually.
Because they're trying to rile you up enough.
No, they're actually talking about planning it.
Yeah.
Okay, specifically like dates. We want to pick up dates and this is what we go after. And to me, that's co-optation of our energy. I'm not here to support the Democrats. I used to support them. I don't anymore.
Now my question is though, is this wasn't he making Ray wasn't he making like a connection between those people and their ALEC association?
No,
it wasn't that one. That was a different one.
No, that was Chris.
Yeah, they went that
trying
way.
to make the association between ALEC. Okay, but no, Ray was arguing. Well, they're politically autonomous, so we can do whatever we want. They're not. Nathan Fletcher just quit the Republican Party. So he's still a Republican.
Yep.
Okay? I mean, so don't tell me they're not autonomous. That's bullshit.
Yeah, they're politicians, so it doesn't matter what side they're on.
And what I don't like is the politicians, lots of politicians trying to use our space as a way to keep pushing the donkey show. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, that's why
it's going to make me vote. I'm not going to be able to pull a lever for a Democrat because of it. Because they keep trying to co-opt us. They don't have respect for it. It makes me lose respect for the party completely.
Yeah,
It'll be a full third-party voting event for me.
I don't know who goes to that Greater San Diego page anymore. I mean, I left that page a long time ago because it was just.
I read it occasionally, but it is their people now running our page. There are two people there. Listen, I love Josephine and Ray. We know where I feel about Ray. But we have two people who are involved with the movement and the perspective of Occupy Greater San Diego now controlling our Facebook page and setting the tone in a lot of ways.
That's why I don't use Facebook.
Group page, right?
No, the group page.
The group page.
On Facebook.
That's Ray Lutz and Josephine Gioruli. I'm sorry, but listen, somebody's going to ask a little bit of a question. Why did we appoint Cops White? Come on. I mean, really, think about that. Listen, think about this. Why did we appoint a Cops White an admin of our team?
Should have never done that one.
That's a real problem.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
Because, they can delete they can delete anything off they don't like. And we may not know it or catch it, or some people catch it. Usually people do, but a lot of stuff sinks to the bottom, and it just seems like a bad idea to me. I remember all this argument about who was going to be admins and all the fighting we did with Halsey and Gagan to get it, and then we handed it over to two more people. Somehow it was just unelected taken over.
Well, I mean, then this is entering on obviously not completely different conversation, but a much larger and more conversation about not just so obviously what you're talking about is a symptom of a larger problem, which is that the people that are in charge of the state are, that you feel are aligning things in.
They both are pro-Democratic Party.
But still,
and making that very publicly known on the page, and they're admins.
Right, and well, regardless of the fact, what would be our solution? Okay, so we're talking about that there is this problem, and so our solution would be that we vote to amend the thing that's, the rules and guidelines of the Facebook page to be much stronger in the not to talk about political things.
That's one part of the problem, but the other part of the problem is that they're currently trying to organize people specifically via posting the messages up there, and then secondarily by PM, if you show interest in it, then they contact you via private message to try and get people to organize to go out as Occupy. And because of course, they don't have to bring you to the GA. People show up as Occupy and hold their Occupy signs whether we tell them to or not, and go out and specifically go after Republican people, weaken them, and not equally apply the same amount of pressure or critical thinking or lens against the Democratic. Like, if we're going to go after, listen, if we want to go after city council, let's go after each and every one of them.
Right.
equally.
So then that's the
problem.
It's either all or nothing.
It's all or nothing for me, in my opinion, because none of them got clean hands.
Okay, well then what's our proposed what's our proposed next action item to make that happen? Either go to the
that we do not target candidates.
Right. What we're saying is kind of rewrite the guidelines in some way that says this is not a forum to target, I mean, whether or not they do it through Facebook, I mean, they could just do it through phone. I mean, they could do it through snail mail, and we can't do anything about it.
No, but they're using our name.
Right. Well, we can't do anything about that either. I mean, we can denounce it as much as we would like, but...
Well, we can, because, we have a statement that says PAC, we don't support PAC. So now anytime anybody tries to post a link to the PAC, we can sit there and say, this is not agreed upon by our group. Period.
Exactly.
We have a statement we can say. That's how we respond to it.
Right.
That's what keeps it from taking off. It actually keeps it from taking off.
Right. So we can do that.
Months ago, we had already stated that Occupy as a movement and as a group, we do not support nor endorse any candidates.
Right.
So therefore, I understand what Tracy is saying. If you're talking about rallying up people under the Occupy banner and going out and protesting against Republicans, but you're not protesting against the Democrats, then it looks like Occupy as a group and as a movement is supporting Democrats.
So what I'm saying is that either we tell them that everybody has to stop talking about that stuff, or we have to go after everybody.
Well, I'm a little... I mean, I've been... and I agree with your position in as much as... But the most of the discussion this week was great discussion on there were a couple of others like that. You're saying that people are actually organizing on there, or that people...
Yeah, they're organizing. I mean, I already know some of my people have been entities who can send private messages and being asked if you want to set up a rally against such and such person.
The most recent one was when against Romney.
Yeah, they did Women's Occupy did one against I think most of that energy about the candidates, to be honest with you, is coming from Women Occupy, but they're a separate group. And, I mean, they can do whatever they want under Women's Occupy, but they've got their own pages and forums and groups. We don't go to their groups and forums and argue against what they're going to do, but they come to our groups and pages and forums, and they're trying to
criticize these people.
Yeah.
Mine's a dog.
I've done that.
We need to criticize Romney, we need to criticize the president, we need to criticize all these people.
Everyone needs to be targeted.
But you're saying that people are actually using...
No, the people who are actually pushing for us to do this, who are trying to organize it, are also actively speaking in favor of Democratic candidates. And the best example is Ray Left gave a whole candidate a roster list of who he thought should get voted. Oh yeah,
I'm looking for
yeah, he posted a whole roster of who he thought. It was like this long on a page.
And they're all Republicans.
Yeah, I don't know. There's another one. There was another one where he posted, and he goes, "These are the people that he goes. Well, really, these are the best people we can get in." So I mean, it wasn't just I was leading, because as long as they're talking against something, I can kind of understand why it's subject to body violence. Yeah, that was after somebody else, after Christy did that.
Yeah, so that's the first one.
But that's not why they're targeting them. They're targeting them because they're trying to, the goal is to weaken them against Democratic or progressive aligned opponents. So that's the goal. The goal can't be ignored. If we're going to occupy, if we're going to start going after individual candidates, we have to go against them. Not a single one of them has delivered on what our concerns are.
One of the most outrageous things this week was the guy
Yes. Oh, Rocky. Freaking idiot.
Zimmerman,
I mean, that's a big deal.
the one that shot
He just
Trayvon Martin.
Rocky said it.
That seemed like just...
He's just there to mess with people. He's angry at life and not a lot of things in general. And I don't know if it's true or not, but there were, I personally thought it was just a smear campaign at the time I saw it, but there were multiple allegations of him being
It's at the entrance.
a sexual predator.
Actually,
but I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah,
He was right.
At the entrance.
Yeah, I made it very clear.
she's all live stream or something.
Who's
Are you live streaming?
Yeah, Chris gave it to me.
Huh? He's been down there for a long time. His name is Dave. He's called Rocky. He's the guy who a woman came to Occupy saying that he molested her child, and he's the guy that said he saw Jay Polk on the bus, and he's the guy that
Jay owed him money.
Yeah, he's the guy that was one of the only people that's ever gotten banned off of Occupy Your Corner because he was on there saying that George Zimmerman is his hero and that Jovan deserved to die and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, you gotta go.
Actually, no censorship. Banned him off the other Occupy pages.
Yeah, seriously, because he's just
She's never done that before. She doesn't ban people.
Yeah, and when he was doing that stuff on my page, I was like trying to moderate him. I was like, you gotta calm down. This is not how we communicate. And everybody was like, bloop, ban him, bloop, ban him, bloop, ban him. Everybody was like, I was PMing out of the world. I was like, I gotta let you go, honey. Sorry. I mean, the people have spoken. But yeah, so I mean, but yeah, his impetus is just anger and trying to just do something bad to I guess people of different races or whatever. But the thing is that like my question is that the forum the FB page is a place where we can talk negatively about candidates, right? And I'm sure that to a greater or lesser degree, since we don't have many presidential candidates to talk about, we only have Obama and then a whole bunch of Republicans, so it's going to seem like we're talking about a lot of Republicans, but like it seems that people are taking those different episodes of pointing out people's faults and then taking it to the next step. How do we regulate that? How do we say you can only talk about somebody so much, but then you can't talk about them so much that you're going to want that, and then try to turn it into some sort of active event? Like we have to think about how do we form that language so that we can say, look, this is the rule. You can't form events, but you can bitch and moan all you want. Okay.
Oh, we can.
There are people who feel strong about that, and they are free to go and take part in those actions.
But then they're going to, as Tracy was saying, then they're going to take the Occupy sign and they're going to say, Occupy did this, Occupy San Diego did this.
Well, it's not forever, you can, because we don't have the big party that we support.
10 minutes are up.
I know, but it's not like the people who are walking
check.
down the street is going to see the asterisk
Mic
following
check.
them being like, make sure to find.
10 minutes are up.
10 minutes
Yeah, there's not some asterisk
Meeting create.
flying behind them. Please read the plan.
They don't even care what we do here. They're just taking their name and using it for what they can use it for.
Yeah, look what just happened at the World Trade Center just today. That whole group took the whole Occupy Day. Like, we're going to have something happening. They didn't have anything happening, but they were trying to make it.
That was us. That's why
Yeah, see, and that's the exact thing that's happening. People don't know.
Thank you. I know, it was 12 minutes or 14 or so.
Kicked out. They don't know, about
No, it's fine. It came out of my purse.
all they see is a pile of people.
But you can have it.
I think that the solution is to somehow come to the group and say, listen, this page is not for campaigning for your candidate. And if we put it into the discussion, we say this is not the place for it, then when people are doing it, we can honestly turn around and say, this is not the appropriate place. Go to Ron Paul forum, or go to Obama forum, but this is not the place. And be able to do that, say that. I mean, I just think that if we sit there and make that even tough, I don't know. I think people need to be aware of it. I think we need to chime in and say this isn't appropriate. We're not here to support, to help one candidate and over the benefit of the other. I mean, those actually need to have a serious discussion.
Like, let's say I like to post like things about Santorum. I was in Philadelphia when he was the thing, so I like to post negative things about him. Is that in some way me skewing the argument? I mean, should I then refrain from putting negative stuff up about somebody? Because in some way I'm skewing the argument against
We have problems putting negative stuff problems, blowing up problems for people who are elected. I do have a problem though with the fact that we do have Democratic Party regulations that are
right against it. Right, but I'm just saying we have to think of what they're going to say. They're going to say, oh well, you guys say all the stuff you want to say, so I can't say the stuff I want to say. People say that stuff all the time. So yeah,
but we're politically autonomous, and that's the whole point of being politically autonomous. We used to knock people up when they started trying to put pro-Obama kind of laws. We would have jump all over them in October and November when people were putting up You know, the Obama guys are going crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we
the
jumped all over them and we deleted a lot of that shit.
But yeah, so I guess that's really the thing. I mean, we just have to say you can't be pro. I mean, you can talk all the cons you want, but you just can't be pro your candidate. But I mean, but then the problem is that the two people, as you pointed out, that would be the moderating element. How are we gonna?
Well, here's the thing, though.
How are they gonna be able to make the
maybe
judgment?
Wendy
That's
can
too
give us
pro,
a better.
That's too con.
Wendy, can you do WOSD? You do Women of OSD, right? Can you come talk to us for a little bit about something? Can we have 3 more minutes, please?
Okay, 3 more minutes.
3 more minutes.
I know Women of OSD have been struggling with the idea of whether to support candidates or not. It seems to me like there's been a lot of call out online lately to go after and protest certain candidates. And to me, it could be an incorrect observation, but it seems to me that a lot of people are promoting or heavily involved with Women of OSD and with both the Democratic Party. Not necessarily the same people, not necessarily the same application, but it bothers me a lot because we are helping particular candidates who go after one and don't go after all the rest of them. And I was just curious where you all where you were all standing in Women of OSD as far as that, because it kind of seems to me to conflict with the political autonomy statement, and it's very clearly like based on knowing these people now, having known them for multiple months. I know a lot of them are very pro-Democrat, and some of them are even pushing pro-Democrat, saying that going back to the lesser two evils argument, and it just kind of feels wrong for me for it to be an Occupy. But I was looking for insight where you think where they're at.
That's a hard one. Where I think that they're at is all of the above. Yes, there are some women that are very democratically oriented and are working on democratic campaigns. As a group, we've had the discussion. And it's more specific. Is do we support Lori Saldana? Because she is a member of Occupy. She has stood up for Occupy. She has come to meetings. And the consensus of the group is individual members of WOSD can support Lori. And we support their right to do that. We, as a group WOSD, because we are aligned with Occupy Wall Street and the Declaration of Occupy Wall Street, we as WOSD cannot support a political candidate. We support issues, but not specific candidates. There really hasn't been much of a discussion around negativeness towards candidates. It's issue based. For an example, Duncan Hunter, if he's doing something, if he's expressing issues that don't support women, that don't support a woman's right to choose, if he's not supporting specific issues, we feel that we can express, protest, etc. the issue. The fact that so-and-so does not support the Occupy movement, WOSD's position about this issue.
Let me just throw this idea out there. What if we were to ask people say to people, if you are currently organizing for a particular party or candidate, we ask that you not organize any protests for or against candidates with Occupy.
Yeah.
How about that simple statement? We say, I mean, of course, it requires people to be honest, but we assume everybody is honest. And we just say that if you are currently working as a volunteer or paid professional for any political party or candidate, we ask that you not, because it is a conflict of interest, that you not take any leadership role in organizing any protests for or against candidates. Because that means then we don't have their operatives being the driver to get these actions done. And then if people in Occupy feel strongly enough, if they can convince enough people, then someone else who's feels that it's necessary to take it up, would do so.
Right.
Then that doesn't preclude the ability to absolutely do it. It just takes out the conflict of interest. That's what I'm concerned about, is the conflict of interest.
Okay. Yeah. Like, okay, so on the Women Occupy San Diego Facebook page, I mean, do some of the pro-Lori Saldana people write pro-Lori Saldana?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, no. So on the Women Occupy San Diego page, do the people who are into the Lori Saldana as an example, do they put up on their pro-Lori Saldana conversations, and are they having threads talking about her in a positive way? Because, I mean, that's kind of what you were saying, like, yeah.
They're two separate things. There's the Facebook WOSD conversations that go on. I don't pay a lot of attention to that. It's enough trying to follow OSD for me. The Women Occupy Google group, there are some women that will post announcements about Lori Saldana is having this event. Yeah, if you support Lori, then here's the information about this event. Is the way that things are.
Right.
Since Women Occupy is a separate group, they have a right to do whatever they want on their pages. I'm not interested in really what they have a right to run their pages however they want. That's their business.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But what I'm concerned about is it's going on to the Occupy San Diego page nowadays. It's starting to get pushed on there. I mean, we've seen it go from there, migrating our way, looking to capitalize on our energy, and that's what I don't want. It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, when you do that, let's say you put up on an Occupy page, oh, there's this thing happening. Naturally, all the occupiers are going to kind of huddle up in a corner together. I mean, that's what happened at the Trevon March. All of a sudden, I realized that we were all together in the middle of the march. We just kind of, we like each other's smell or something. It's just how it works. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's a sticky situation. It's a little sticky, and especially since the moderation is on the shoulders of people, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I think we should be revisiting the whole moderator issue. It's 6 months into it. I think it's a fair time to start revisiting at some point in the future.
Or at least, looking at that, especially looking at that write-up that we have of all the rules and things.
Well, I think whoever's moderating should actually be somebody who actually shows up at GA too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how can you moderate a page when you're never at our GA to know what's going on with our page? I mean, I don't have anything. I like Josephine in particular, except she's a wonderful human being. She is really awesome. But at the same point, I do think there should be at least one admin involved who actually shows up at GA and knows what we're doing here, because that's where we set the guidelines is here.
And I think we need to come back together as a whole group.
Right now.
Because...
Yeah. 3 times 3 times 3 is up.
Can I speak on this one? Oh, yeah. For the group, would anybody want to speak?
We're really coming together.
Check. All right.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Convening. Thank you. Thank you.
This is not a test.
Hello. Hello. Mic check.
Mic check.
Yay. Come, guys.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam.
Now that song's going to be in my head all day.
Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So, how many groups were there? 3.
We're one over here.
We had one over here.
If we could get a speaker, I think maybe possibly Tracy last for this one.
It doesn't matter.
I think I'm sitting here overhearing some of it. I think I'm all for her proposal myself.
Let's see what everybody's first.
And so we need to figure out the plan to do it. Any other groups want to jump in?
Well, we completely agree, 100% agree, that Occupy should remain unsullied from the political process, whether it be local or national. Like the ideals that we feel the ideals that Occupy represents transcends the like drudgery and dirt of the politicking as it is within the Republican Democratic structure. And our job isn't to advocate for servants of an already corrupt system, but to point out their wrongs and to provide solutions, of course, but certainly not to advocate for any of them. So that, I mean, in a nutshell, that's what we did. We didn't talk really about fundraising. We got into, I mean, it's a very pertinent topic, and we got into a really good conversation about it. But in a nutshell, we completely 100% agree with what you're saying. Like, when to the point, like we didn't talk about this, but to the point of, and it sounds like this is going to be the case, that we need to actually have like a statement of that purpose to. Once again, exactly. Well, there we go. Maybe just to reiterate it, but like once again, like the ideals of Occupy in this form of activism transcends the politicking that is going on specifically throughout the Republican and Democratic bipartisan system of politics that we have in this country.
Maybe when we see it on the website, like posting them.
Yeah, blast the statement of political economy, all that shit.
So, you know, I mean, because it creates that culture. It's like whoever's, you know, handling the Occupy Facebook pages, you know, throw that out.
Delete it.
That would work beautifully into her.
So,
one of the admins is posting it.
that does help set the tone for the page. And I don't like it when an admin for a page is, two of them are both. I love them. I like one in particular very personally, but it's not to me okay that our admins are pushing that. It sends a statement when they do that. So the thing I'm going to propose is that we work on some kind of statement that says something to the effect of, if you are currently working as a community organizer, volunteer, or paid professional for any political action committee or political election campaign, that you refrain from organizing any kind of protest for or against candidates within Occupy to avoid any conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest is a very simple thing to understand. If I was working for Move On, it would not be right for me to, well, they would want me to come here and capitalize on you. Okay, if I was working for another group that's working like for Obama, they would want me to come in and capitalize. And it's what's going on. The election is what's hot, and it's what a lot of people are much more focused on right now. I don't want to be used for it. So the two ideas I would put out there is, one, I think we need to amend who our moderators are on our Facebook page, because we fought long and hard to get that back. And then the second would be that we consensus on the statement that says, if you are a community organizer, volunteer, or paid employee of any political candidate organizing campaign or political action committee, that you refrain from coordinating or organizing any demonstrations or events in the name of Occupy to prevent a conflict of interest. That would be the proposal.
As far as the
Cheryl has a
clarification.
Who are our current admins on that Facebook group page?
Josephine Pierulli and Ray Lutz. Yep.
The Facebook was given to like 8 moderators. I was one of them at the time, and I was consistently bombarded by people telling me to take down hate speech, and I just quit because I didn't care.
That's what happened.
It was like, well, I just don't care, so just stop spamming me, please. So that's what happened with at least 2. I think Holly had the same reaction. People blowing up on her all the time on private messages and stuff. People just quit, and what's left is what's left.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the other day somebody was putting up a whole bunch of Ron Polish stuff all over the page. And so I asked them, I was like, I think we have a thing in the sidebar there that says we can't talk about these things. And then I looked, and there actually isn't anything in the sidebar that says not to talk about politics. And I was like, never mind, and I said, carry on, because we actually don't have anything in there. I don't know if it was there sometime and it was removed, or if it's like so obfuscating that I can't even understand it. But I looked and looked and looked, and I mean, there's a lot of rules on there, but none of it really says anything about not talking about politicians and stuff on the page, pro or con. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line. I mean, because we're, in a sense, what we're doing is politics, or politicking, or working on political action. So it's going to be talked about. It's like the difference between talking about it and promoting it. I guess is what I wanted to clarify.
I just think that if they're not actually working as an official community organizer, or Move On organizer, or a Democratic organizer, or a Republican organizer, or a Ron Paul organizer, the likelihood that these kind of actions are going to take off inside Occupy is minimal.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the people in Occupy who are not working for a party and not trying to capitalize in on their relationship with us aren't going to be motivated to do it, because that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm thinking that statement may really be very effective, and it does point back to something that we can say on Facebook, saying, hey, listen, this is an Occupy page. If you're working for the Democratic Party, you can't do this here. That's it. I mean, I think that's fair. Other groups what other groups do on their pages is their business. Not for me to tell them what to do, but we're Occupy San Diego. That's our web page. That's our Facebook page. I think, and to have two admins who are not really representative of Occupy San Diego, but are actually more representative of Greater Occupy San Diego and Women Occupy San Diego, moderating a page for us, it's wrong. I appreciate the work, though. I do appreciate it.
I don't know who had our hands up first, so excuse me. I don't vote. I don't like to vote. I'm barely understanding the process that's going on here. I think everyone sees that and knows that, let alone trying to vote for somebody who has no idea what I want to speak about to everyone else in the state. I don't vote. I don't care who's saying vote for me, vote for me. I'm not voting for it. I just don't do that. I don't know, what I mean? So to have any of that, like you're saying, to have any of that constituted influence like that, that's already giving them full access gateways to sit here and mess it up. We already know they have that, but I represent who I represent. Aside from that, I'm here as an occupant. Aside from this, when I take it, I don't bring my representation to the people as, this is because, as far as what I like to start taking over tables too. That's really my idea. I'm not going to go there. I don't bring that to the table. That's not for me to do like that. So I don't bring any of my political beliefs in it as well. This is for the people and by the people, and however we need to reiterate that into society is necessary without already existing politics. So I don't know. I don't vote. That's my stance on that. But I'll stand there and with the people to be another person in the crowd and that. So I don't know how far and where this is going. Please continue. I just wanted to simply remark on the part where, as far as amending our Facebook moderators, instead of just taking them off, I'd rather, if anything, we could go and just ask them, like, hey, can you please follow these guidelines? We can make sure we put up a statement. Make sure that it sticks to that. And then when they don't do it, then we can discuss. Because
that's fine with me. That's fair.
I don't think anybody here has the time to moderate Facebook. I know I don't.
Yeah.
And if they're doing it, if they adhere to what GA asks, no reason they can't stay.
I wasn't even thinking about getting rid of them as much as I was thinking about adding someone who actually comes to GA. Because I know it's a lot of work. But we right now currently don't have someone moderating the page who actually knows what we decide here. And that's my problem that I have. That's why I'm thinking more so add. I'm not discounting the hard work they're doing. I appreciate that. And I agree, though, if we pass a statement of this, then we can add that to our Facebook page. We can add that to our political autonomy statement. And then we have a policy by which we can sit there and say, this is our policy and you need to follow it. But if we don't create a policy, then we can't ask them to follow it. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm sorry. I may not have
Sure.
spoken clearly on that.
Can I make an amendment?
Sorry, she's next. I'm sorry, she's next. But then you, I gotta.
Thank you. I agree with you, Tracy, in terms of individual political candidates. What's important to me is that we not stifle conversation around political issues. Personally, I want to read a dialogue. I want to have a dialogue about the issues. And in that, I want to know, for instance, what candidate supports medical marijuana. What candidates support pro-choice. And my concern is that we may stifle by not allowing for conversation about political candidates. We may stifle the conversation about what those candidates' political issues and priorities are.
Isn't that more appropriate in a site where board that's dedicated for those kind of discussions? Yeah. Because Occupy really isn't supposed to be about candidates. And I understand why it's easy to say, well, I want to have this because this is an audience that I'm paying attention to. But to me, I feel it's more appropriate that those conversations take place in other forums where it's about candidates. Because it says in our autonomy station, we're not about individuals, we're about issues. On issues, I agree. I want to talk about issues. And I want to know which assholes support bad issues. Okay, so I can be warned away from them. But we've got a very careful, slippery slope that's starting to happen right now because of the election.
How can we do that?
By asking people who are political organizers to not use because people who are political organizers come here with a different perspective than most of us here at Occupy, and they have an agenda. They do have an agenda. If you're working actively to try to get your candidate in, you're constantly trying to do it, just like I constantly try to bring up Occupy with people. So I think that if you're an organizer, we're going to have, of course, depend on people to be honest enough, but we're going to sit there, because if they're not honest enough and they are working about it, we find out later on we call bullshit on it. But I mean, I don't think it's unfair to expect people to self-identify. That is in the original OWS statement about if you are working with other groups, we ask that you self-identify, which they're not doing right now. Okay, they're not self-identifying. And this, by making this statement, we say to them, you have an obligation to self-identify, and if you don't, then we as a community have a right when we find out to say, you know what, you're an asshole, basically. I don't want to say that, or you're an asshole, or you're a fraud, or you're sneaky, or you're not respecting our group, whatever you want to say, however you feel about it. But I think that if we put that in there, we put the obligation on them. We remind them that they have an obligation to self-identify, because that's in the very first OWS statement.
No, I would say that there's a difference between a support or an ad, like absolutely, promoting a candidate, than having a conversation and saying, well, yeah, no, I know Ron Paul supports this, or I know this. Yeah. Like, that's not outright advertising and promoting. I mean, that's in conversation. It came up. That's relevant. Putting up an ad like a Ron Paul video, just straight up saying, like, he should be our president. That's retarded.
Yeah.
Like, it's stuff like that.
Or we should vote for Lori Saldana.
It shows up as that it's from Occupy rather than an individual.
Right, it says Occupy San Diego for admin stuff.
I have two questions. One, there's the Occupy Facebook group page that we're talking about right now, but then there's the other Occupy kind of page. Like, there's another whole thing. I mean, do those moderators also moderate that as well?
They're independent pages. As far as I've known, they've never come under the jurisdiction of this group, right?
The other Occupy.
I'm only talking about the one that we have that's sanctioned as ours. That's the only one I'm talking about.
There's a group
our forums and our Facebook group page that is moderated by Josephine Pieroli and Ray Lutz with about 3,600 members.
Right, and then there's kind of like just the Facebook community page, just kind of like the business
I don't
page.
even know who runs that.
Yeah, somebody runs that. And two, I brought up that story before about the Ron Paul thing because I was shocked to find, because I thought I was just going to go in there and copy paste and be like, stop talking. And there was nothing really in there that really kind of talked. Why did we ever have something in there that said don't politic on our page, or have we never ever had that on the Facebook thing?
I think it was on there to begin.
To me, when we came out with the statement of political anatomy, to me, I always took that as within the Occupy movement, whether it's on the web page or whether it's when we're in the actual group, we do not support nor do we endorse political candidates. Right. And that's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah, but people are real sticky on those.
And apparently, somewhere along the line, things kind of like deviated and went off track because now we have people on an Occupy page talking about politicians. And to me, that is total deviation from what the actual pages were actually set up for. Because since day one, we have never been a movement of people meant to endorse any politicians, whether Republican, liberal, Democrat, whatever. So somewhere along the line, like I just said, there was a deviation. So I honestly feel like once again we have to repost the statement of political anonymity, so that way everyone knows. Yes, that even applies to the pages and not just the actual group dynamics.
Right.
I'd like to motion that we add Nan as a Facebook admin.
She's doing Occupy Walk now. She hasn't got time for our page.
Did she walk?
No, she's managing your folks and doing all their outreach and press for them. She is white.
She was asking me to help her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty overloaded.
We need another Nan.
I want someone, but I would like to see someone, if we're going to add someone, somebody who actually comes to GA.
Nan watches GA on live stream enough to accounts when she's here.
I don't think she's watching as much.
She's watching right now.
Is she watching?
I'm sure she is.
Nan!
I'm sure she is. She
Nan.
watches quite a bit.
She's a certified occupier.
Yeah.
I know she is. She's hardcore.
She's ground troops from
We can ask her. We can ask her totally. But
what about Pat? She's here all the time. I nominate Pat.
Yeah. Pat, if you're comfortable doing it.
How about Alan? Alan's always on Facebook.
Or
Alan's always on Facebook. He is. He posts things every morning.
I would do Brett, but he's smart. He doesn't do things.
I'd be okay with both of them, actually. I think they would be better to have multiple voices that actually represent our GA on there.
Yeah.
I'd like the idea a lot. Can we make a proposal to do that?
Oh, shit. Well, no, Pat has to be comfortable with it.
I do a lot of other stuff for Table Cell Barrio and I can't.
Right. Well, Alan then.
Okay. Alan?
Yay! That's all.
So I make a motion that we add Alan Reiner as an admin to our Facebook page.
Okay.
I second.
Make sure the GA is represented.
Do we have 20 people here at least?
Yes.
Everybody just raise your hand. Thank you. I'm volunteering you to raise your hand.
Does anyone block?
Just because he told me.
Remember what I said when my GA first started? Okay, send it back.
Alan blocks you. Is that a serious block?
All right, well, that solves one problem.
Right, and then, okay, so then I propose that Tracy or somebody write up this new thing.
I think you should just put the political. Can't you just put?
It's just like an ethical. It's a statement of obligation to self.
Ethical, yeah.
To self friggin'
moderate, to self-moderate, yeah.
Shouldn't you just reiterate our statement of political?
Yeah, can't you just put political aside?
It's not. Well, I mean, how about I write something up and bring it to next GA?
As something that is like an addendum to the...
Yeah, to add to it. It's just a statement of ethics saying that if you're currently organizing, we ask that you refrain from organizing within our group. That's all. And I'll write it up and let the GA make sure it's okay and it passes. I'll make it very straightforward.
If you're associated with the system that we said we're not going to participate in, it's your freaking job to fucking let us know.
Yep. I agree.
It's fine that you're with us and doing it all, but we want to see everything you're putting out to everyone else because you be trying to counteract it.
All right, I'll write up something and bring it to next GA so everybody can approve it or discuss or amend it.
Some people have to stay in the
Is everybody okay with that?
They see it so they can turn.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay.
Good, we got some stuff done.
What's our third topic?
Fundraising.
Oh yeah, fundraising.
Any other agenda items? Any other breakout groups discussion anyone wants?
But we didn't talk about Will's.
I'm cool with tabling.
Fundraising is an all the time event. Now that Judas isn't in the circle, we can probably start having that carried around with us at all times to make sure that.
Wow. Yeah, but he had his jug with him over there. Did he? You gotta be shit. Yeah. I seen him. I went over there. He had his little jug. He didn't have 3 jugs. Last time he had 2. There was 3. One of them was ours. And it was just occupied. We thought all of them were going to take the money out of that jug. Put it in the other thing. I watched him do it.
Any personal announcements? Closing statements and closing arguments.
Personal announcement.
Personal announcement.
I want to say something. Okay, I believe I observed some people imbibing an illegal substance right here, right now in our midst. And whether or not we agree with the law, which I don't personally, it is the law of the land, and what we live here and we are vulnerable as a group to those laws, and if we become identified with being just a bunch of hippie, druggy, stupid people, it damages what we do. And I don't appreciate it. I wasn't asked whether it should happen here. If you want to go out into the woods somewhere and do it, but not. And we've got somebody taking pictures.
Are you talking about cheeseburgers?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Cool. I second that. I think. I myself, as far as personal announcements to stem from that, I'm disgusted in myself every time I step on grass while I'm serving. That's just me personally, and I know there's a trash can and a pocket nearby. So I'm not saying anything to anyone here. I'm just saying, I know how people are like that, and I know other people don't smoke. And I go myself into so much more extent on trying to keep all that away from pot smoking, because it's kind of, there's so many people, nobody says anything about it, then I think it's kind of, all right, it's cool, we're cool with it. And until it becomes an issue that somebody would, I completely agree with you that it does, some person looking in, there's a group over here, they're talking, and then there's a side group, and they're all smoking, and they're all going to be part of it, and they're going to all take turns in something, and then it can all progress in society. So maybe we can get a blanket or a hat.
I wholeheartedly agree we shouldn't be really doing the circle, but a lot of us have our cards. It's actually not an illegal act for us.
Okay.
So I do hear where you're coming from. I'm just saying that on the illegal factor, like a lot of smoke.
I have a card as well.
Yeah.
So then I'll just say anybody who doesn't have a card, don't do it.
Get a card.
Yeah, get a card. The $35. Get a card.
Talk to the Wellness Finance
Motion that we do not cover that as expense.
Yeah.
I said Wellness Finance, not the finance.
Dude, it's less than $50. I can see this happening.
Hi. I'm Wendy Shu. I agree with you. I do have issues with cigarette smoke. I have environmental allergies. Most folk here have been extremely respectful of that. What I would like to point out is that, and I have this information as someone that has helped create Gay Pride and the Gay Pride Festival here in Balboa Park. Balboa Park is a national park. I know that a lot of people don't realize this, and therefore it is illegal to be cigarette smoking or smoking any kind of smoke in Balboa Park. I'm sharing this as in my head that just to be mindful of that. I think also maybe for some folks who do have health issues like myself, if we could limit it to one or two people smoking at one time, or to have a specific smoking area, I would really personally appreciate that.
Yeah, we are in the worst of the
If anyone knows Memphis Taylor, like any of his info, please get in touch with me after GA. I have some of his stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I've been trying to reach him when I can for the past week.
Have you tried on Facebook? Oh,
yeah.
He doesn't always answer to that. Let me see if I have his phone number. You have him?
Do you? Because I have his charger. His cell phone charger.
Oh, and maybe that's why he's not answering his phone.
I haven't seen the game for like the past week.
If you have numbers?
Oh, I'm going to look right now.
His number? I don't have it.
I don't have it.
No, do you have numbers?
Yes, I do.
I have an announcement, but okay, so I'm going to just read off a few Occupy Your Corner things that are going on. Obviously, tomorrow is the Jokes on Us parade and the Hillcrest Farmers 99% Community Cash Mob. So be there tomorrow bright and early, dress the fool. There's also tomorrow night in Balboa Park over by the fountain, a meditation flash mob around 6 o'clock. On the 6th, Occupy Medi-Cal for Raul and for all those things over in Chula Vista. April 14th is the ICE Breakers. Every 15th is the National Bank of America Take Action Day. So every 15th from now on, there's always going to be an action somewhere across the nation. They're doing it, and so Occupy Corner is obviously going to do something like that. The 16th is Zentart's Day in Court. The 24th is Free Fish, and May 1st is the day without the 99%.
About human trafficking.
Oh, and the human trafficking one as well.
That's the same day as our celebration.
Right. Yep.
Actually, along the lines of the Free Fish issue, we are posted again up on Facebook. If you need to get the information, give me a contact. We need to be writing individual letters to the judge where we can discuss what we personally like about Fish and about why he's important to us and why he's trustworthy and awesome and a hard worker and all that other great stuff. It's really important that these letters go individually. It's important that they go to the judge and get mailed to the courthouse. This is not the time for electronic communication. This is the time for paper and pen. I will be bringing them all this week for anybody who doesn't have access to it, so you can sit down and write them. But we really need to mobilize. We need to have a stack of letters there for him as well. It's going to make a big difference. So I'm asking all of us individually to organize as many people as you know and be a fire under their butt and make them do it.
Do you know the address to send?
If they feel that they can.
Tracy, do you know the address to send it to?
Hold on. Address. Give me a minute. I'll find it.
Zentart's Day in Court. It's Zenyasa.
Oh.
And her day in court is on the 16th. Okay.
Any other announcements?
Give me a minute, Chris.
I will.
Moderator.
Sorry, you can't be moderator.
Moderator for
Tuesday.
Oh, that.
Is it Monday?
Monday.
Oh, it's odd days. Odd days now, huh?
Monday. I nominate Madison.
Right, tomorrow's the 1st. Oh yeah, Monday's the 2nd. Yeah.
Guys, remember we need two
1,
moderators.
2.
We need two moderators for Monday. Monday.
Oh, I nominate Darlene.
What? I nominate Fish.
That household may have already suffered a nomination for a moment. I think I will need a second time.
I nominate
Tracy.
For when?
Monday.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do it.
Any objections to Tracy?
Nope.
Come on, somebody hard block it. Okay, I have the attorney. I have the address for the attorney, but actually, I think it's better if they go to the judge.
Judge, yeah.
Okay, so I'll give out the attorney's address. The attorney's address is 450 B Street.
450 B Street.
Suite 900.
Suite 900.
San Diego, California.
Everybody knows that part.
92101. And Fish, what's the name of your...
92101.
Fish, the name of your attorney again. Jennifer Gerstenzine.
Jennifer
Gerstenzine is the attorney. If you send those letters to her, she will definitely make sure they get onto the judge, but I will post online and social media, and I'll have it tweeted out the address for the judge directly. That's the best way to send them.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you Monday. Oh, I'm sorry, you're always in the bathroom and when you're done,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, that wraps up the Saturday's GA here. We love you all.
And how about...
Have fun.
They say write your judge too.
Write those letters for Fish.
No, write the judge.
Make sure you write a letter for the El Barrio.
Oh, write the judge.
Or for the World Beat. Sorry, for the World Beat. Talk to you guys soon. We'll see you on Monday morning with the Walkers. Or actually, we'll see you tomorrow morning for the April Fool's thing. April Fool's March, 11 o'clock. See you then.